On the issue of water, I think the minister is here. She might be able to say something.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I thank my colleague for raising the issue of water shortage in his area. Madam Speaker and honourable members, water is life, and I do understand really that there's no water and there's a lot of disturbance. Madam Speaker, the area of Kawempe and Tula is one of those areas really which for a long time, even before I came to this house, I used to work with National Water and Sewerage Corporation. It is a challenge of supplying that area. And National Water has been trying to catch up with supplying the water at that hilly area. And we thought we would have by now gone over. However, we also have challenges of the disturbances in the water distribution, Madam Speaker. As an institution, National Water, we had overcome the distance where to get water. But with time, it is now again a challenge. I want to say that we are going to get in touch, personally I'm going to get in touch with my brother, Honorable Latif, so that by tomorrow I would have some response, positive response to his plea, and then we shall undertake to ensure that the supply of water, especially now that our brothers and sisters, Muslim community, are starting their fasting, we should ensure that the water supply is constant. By tomorrow, I would have already gotten in touch with my brother, and we are going to rectify this immediately, Madam Speaker. I beg to submit.
Members, on the issue of the Yaka, the clerk should transmit the query to the Minister for Energy. Yes, Honorable Bakabulindi.
Thanks very much, Right Honourable Speaker. The Honourable Speaker had requested you to raise the point of national concern, but let me start with the point of water. It is true that Kawempe has been suffering for a long time, but the issue of water now has gone beyond the Kawempe area. I stay in Mutungu. We can even spend a whole week without water. And when I rang there, they told me it's because of the construction that are taking place. Kabusu, they are constructing. There are so many areas. If the minister could come, as she has promised, with the details of how they coordinate with the Minister of Works, because it is affecting us so much, so that that issue is settled. Right Honourable Speaker, I'm raising on the issue of national importance. And I think as government, whenever we undertake a pledge with some sensitive sectors, we should try our level best to fulfill it. The health workers have done a tremendous work in this country during this COVID period. There is a time when people could fear even to be closer with the patients of COVID, but our health workers were in position to save us. And I remember there is a time they had wanted to go on strike. We as the workers MPs, we had to sit with them to convince them, and they had to have an undertaking with the Minister of Health, with the Minister of Public Service, to promise them that during this budgeting process, they will incorporate the larger allowance. But, Madam Speaker, yesterday, I met them. There is nothing of that nature that has been incorporated. The Minister of Finance is here, he will tell us, as far as the lunch allowance of health workers is concerned. And if they threaten again another strike, it will be we people to suffer. Madam Speaker, I think an action needs to be taken before we come to the final budgeting of this process. Secondly, Madam Speaker, last time, around 5th March, my colleague, Honorable Shaija, raised a matter of importance here about our workers in the markets around Kampala. Some of them had gone to the extent of reading these markets like Nakasero, St. Barry Kudembe. The details are there in the files. And the chief whip stood on behalf of the Minister of Kampala by promising that within 2 days, the minister was going to come with an answer on how amicably they were going to handle that issue. Up to now, the minister has dodged and nothing has taken place. Our prayer, Madam Speaker, is that let this issue be given to the committee concerned so that all the people with their window can be taken to that committee. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Honourable members, on the issue of the health workers, since we're in the budgeting process, I want to instruct the chair of the health committee to take an interest in those issues and ensure that they are presented. But the minister anyway is here. I don't know if she has something to say. The Minister of Health is here. Then concerning the one of the markets, we shall send to the Committee on Presidential Affairs so they can have a proper hearing and also give us a report.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to thank my colleague for raising this very important matter. Madam Speaker, we cannot deliver effective healthcare services without the healthcare workers. And the nurses comprise predominantly of the healthcare workers in the profession. They are the majority. And indeed it is true, all this time, the lunch allowance they've been getting is 2,000 per day, which is not adequate. And I think all of us have agreed, as government, as ministry, that the nurses should be motivated by just adding a little bit on top of what they're getting. And I'm so surprised that this matter is coming time and again. The Right Honourable Prime Minister, I recall, has pledged personally and put it in writing that come this financial year, this is going to be fulfilled. And it is our great hope that this matter is going to be captured in the forthcoming budget so that we do not make empty promises, but we make reality, and the nurses that comprise predominantly of the healthcare workers are really given this small money so that
Honourable Bonzaga.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable Speaker, I think the Minister is not telling us the truth. We are in the budget process. She's among the ministers who go in the Committee of Health. The answer she's supposed to give us without even mentioning the Prime Minister is that, Madam Speaker, we have put this money in our budget. But if she's telling us, the Prime Minister personally, is he going to sell his own cows to realize that money? The answer is no. So, Honourable Minister, through the Speaker, kindly tell us, have you put this money in your budget? The moment you say that, you don't even need to waste time on the microphone. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Yes, Honourable Senyonga.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, it is not only the workers. The procedural matter I want to bring to the Minister of Finance, even the 2,000, you already have a petition of all civil servants. The 2,000 which are given to them as lunch allowance is taxed. So at the end of the day, you find that they remain with almost nothing. So we in public service and local government, we are saying all ministerial policy statements should be considered, including lunch, and the Minister of Finance should come out clearly with the Revenue Authority, not to tax even the 4,000 or 5,000, because at the end of the day when it is taxed, you cannot even have breakfast out of it. I thank you.
Honourable Minister, did you provide for this in your budget? Because if you didn't, what magic will the letter of the Prime Minister bring? Did you provide for it or not?
Madam Speaker, this money was factored in the forthcoming budget for the next financial year. However, it is one of the unfunded priority, which we do not want really to be unfunded priority. So I could request my colleague, the Minister of Finance, really to come and clarify that matter. Our wish is to be not unfunded priority, but to be factored as to be fulfilled in the next coming financial year.
The Minister of Finance is here.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker and the Minister of Health. But Madam Speaker, before I make a comment on the allowances for the health workers, I have seen the chairperson of budget, the Honorable Rugorobi, come enter in the House. I think we want to thank God that he recovered very well after 3 months. And at an appropriate time, we will be able to welcome him in the House properly. So,
can I also add my words of welcome on behalf of the House and say we have missed you, we have really missed you. And we thank God for your life. Okay. Yes.
It is true that this particular item has been a part of the unfunded priorities, and we are considering it as we finalize the budget. There will be a meeting in a few days from now. So in the next core agenda that we are likely to bring either this week or next week, we think that we shall have sorted out all these issues. Whatever is going to be accommodated will come in the core agenda, Madam Speaker. On the issue of the taxing for the allowance, I beg that you give me some time tomorrow. I check what exactly the Honorable is mentioning, then I come back tomorrow and inform the House. Yeah, thank you, Madam.
With regard to the lunch allowance for the health workers, this is now government assurance. The Minister says he's going to bring a core agenda, and I hope he will keep to his word. The other one he said he will answer tomorrow. Let's go to item 3. Item 3.
Item 3 on the order paper.
What rules? Let's. Yes, Honorable.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I raise on a point of procedure concerning your directive to the Ministry of Finance concerning the payment for Makerere University Business School lecturers who are supposed to get money through a supplementary budget, because they had been promised and it had taken so long, and the minister knew that promise. Madam Speaker, even up to now, that money is not reflected in the budget we are preparing. Therefore, Madam Speaker, I am worried when we have been waiting for a supplementary budget to cover the concerns of Makerere University Business School lecturers. It is not even in the budget. So, Madam Speaker, I pray that you really redirect the minister to make sure that that money is reflected in the budget, if cannot come as part of a supplementary budget. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Okay. So, Honourable Minister of Finance, what do you say about that? That's an old commitment.
Madam Speaker and honorable colleagues, the issue of salary enhancement is not a simple one. Actually, it's a very big issue because the entire public service would want to see their salary enhanced. And what we recall, what we started with were the medical personnel. We also looked at other categories of the cadres in the civil service, and we have been increasing their salaries slowly by slowly. It is true that we had committed to the staff of MOOBs I think 2 years ago, with His Excellency the President. We had a meeting with them, but the issue has been the resource. So, Madam Speaker, I request that you again give us time as we come with the core agenda of the budget. We'll be able to inform this House the unfunded priorities, what we have been able to fund, and then together as leaders of this nation, we take a decision given the resource envelope that we have. So next week or end of this week, I'll be coming, Madam Speaker, on that matter.
Could you come really by the end of this week, because we don't have too much time to work on the budget, and the 10th Parliament is ending in hardly a month.
Okay, ma'am.
It's a serious issue. Okay, let's go to item 3.
Item 3 on the order paper, statement by the Right Honourable Prime Minister on the need to review the 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew.
Right Honourable the Prime Minister.
Right Honourable Speaker, I join you and Lugahata and the colleagues in the House to salute and welcome our comrade Lugolobi, who has jumped the hurdle and is now with us. We feel very strengthened that we will continue to benefit from your expertise as Parliament and as the country. You are very welcome. Right Honourable Speaker, I'll make a short statement on the issues connected with curfew which were discussed in this August House. Right Honourable Speaker, colleagues, the government is aware of the request by honourable colleagues as well as our brothers and sisters from the Muslim community during this holy month of Ramadan. The request is for government to review some of the measures put in place to control the spread of COVID-19. Specifically, the issue and request to review the curfew hours from 9 to 10 p.m. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, this is a matter that is not only being discussed in this August House, but a matter that was yesterday discussed in Cabinet and the chairmanship of His Excellency President Yoweri Museveni. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, as this House will recall, the measures to control the spread of COVID-19 were put in place after a long consultative process with our scientists and other different stakeholders in the country. These measures were all aimed at containing the spread of COVID-19 pandemic among our population and to save lives. These measures, which were announced by His Excellency the President and the Minister of Health, based on advice from our scientists, are regularly reviewed, and this is done from time to time. This, therefore, means that the issue of curfew hours will be looked into in the context of protecting the lives of Ugandans, considering that the pandemic is still with us and it is still affecting and killing many people in our country. As you are aware, and from the information that we have been receiving from our scientists and the Ministry of Health, the threat and scourge of COVID-19 is still very much alive. Projections indicate that we should not relax our guard because the number of positive cases reported have started, unfortunately, to increase, especially in urban areas, border districts, and also trading centers. This is coupled by the reported cases of new, fast-spreading, and possibly more deadly variants of COVID-19. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, I would like to let you know, and indeed to let the country know, that government is very much alive to the impact that COVID-19 has caused, and also the measures that we took to control COVID-19, what those measures have also caused in our way of life, in our businesses, in productivity, and subsequently in our livelihoods. We are very much aware and we are in solidarity with all those who have been affected. His Excellency the President will in the coming days be addressing the nation with more details on this matter of curfew and where we are in our fight against COVID-19 pandemic and what more steps we should take in order to keep our people safe. In the meantime, the guidelines issued by His Excellency the President and the Ministry of Health remain in place. I thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Let's have Honourable Sabagala. Honourable
Thank you very much,
Basaliro.
Right Honourable Speaker.
Mwijuke.
Madam Speaker,
Sentinel.
I have listened attentively to what Ndugu Prime Minister has just delivered to us. Madam Speaker, I don't know whether the Prime Minister lives on another island, not here in Uganda. Madam Speaker, I want to inform the Prime Minister that informally curfew in many parts of this country is not there. Informally, I'm telling him because he could be living on another island of reality. What we wanted is to officially get the curfew out of our way. Because, Madam Speaker, when you move to many parts of this country, life is normal. Life is moving normally. Madam Speaker, apart from curfew impacting negatively on many, especially small-scale businesses of our poor women, of our poor men, who earn their living between 4 p.m. up to 8 or plus. Madam Speaker, it has become a money-making venture for the state operatives, especially the police. And past 9 p.m., if they get you, they take you to police post, and to get away from there, you must pay 50,000 and above. The roadblocks are staged just to solicit money from people who really move past 9. Madam Speaker, if the Prime Minister, today I can volunteer to move with him around the city and see how things are moving. By midnight, by 11, people are still in bars, people are still moving openly. So now, for us what we wanted is to help the government to officially extend the hours of curfew or to do away with curfew, because we know that curfew has lost its meaning. It has lost its meaning because it has been abused, and that's why, Madam Speaker, we as the Muslim community, when we enter the month of Ramadan, which started today, we thought the government is going to come in and say, yes, we have been under curfew for the last one year plus. And now it is time for us to use this holy month of Ramadan to pray for our country. Therefore, we have officially done away with curfew. Madam Speaker, we know the impact. We know that, yes, we are still grappling with COVID, but I request the Prime Minister and the government to reconsider so that we don't leave curfew as a project to security operatives, so that we don't apply curfew selectively to some parts of this country, because we know that we are all Ugandans. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Onobasalirwa, followed by Mwijuke Centenary.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, the Right Honourable Prime Minister has made matters worse by his presentation. Right Honourable Speaker, as we speak now, there is a team of Ugandans in Chankwanzi undergoing some ideological orientation. But Right Honourable Speaker, government, specifically the Minister for Health, issued a statutory instrument to the effect that there will be no political meeting of 200 people and above. But as we speak now, there is a meeting going on in Chankwanzi. And that meeting, Right Honourable Speaker, is beyond 200 people. And yet there is a law barring meetings of 200 people and beyond. What are these double standards, Right Honourable Prime Minister, that you are exhibiting that makes it difficult for you to review curfew hours to allow the Muslim community to enjoy the holy month of Ramadan? What is so special about it? Right Honourable Speaker, our Imam has already informed the Right Honourable Prime Minister that in effect there is no curfew. In effect it is not there. So we want to request that, given the reality on the ground and the fact that already you are abusing SOPs that you put in place as government, just formalize the issue to allow Muslims to enjoy the holy month. Finally, Right Honourable Speaker, yesterday there was a communication, and I'm glad the Minister for Internal Affairs is here, Alhaji J. Job Odong Abubakar. Yesterday, Afande Ochom issued a circular to all RPCs, DPCs and commanders, calling on them not to inconvenience the Muslim community beyond the curfew hours. Right Honourable Speaker, I have that communication on my phone. And when we received it, there was a sigh of relief in the Muslim community. Afando Chom was saying that Muslims would find themselves praying beyond the 9 o'clock. And that if they are found moving after 9 o'clock, they should not be inconvenienced. That was Afando Chom. The Prime Minister comes on the floor and says the curfew is still there. How are we moving as a country? So what are the Muslims going to do? Are they going to follow the communication of the Prime Minister or to follow the communication of Afando Chom? What are we going to do? So I think it's important that you come out very clearly on this matter for the good of the country. I thank you.
Mwijuke and Centenary.
Thank you so much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, as a member who was seconded to the National Task Force on COVID, if the Prime Minister had consulted us, we would have advised him otherwise. Otherwise, Right Honourable Speaker, just like the Honourable Sevagar has said, It is not that there is no curfew. No, the roadblocks are there. But that as long as you have money in your pocket, you remove. So there are money collecting centers. It has now defeated the purpose for which the curfews were established. So people are moving, but they are roadblocks. So if you don't have money, you will not move. If you have money, you will definitely move, as long as you have 10,000, 20,000. So it is important now to sit and review, because some of these were established for purposes of planning. So that we plan. Now that we have been planning for over a year, why can't we extend to midnight like other countries have done? Otherwise, you cannot continue having regulations that are not helpful to Ugandans, and then we defend them. Otherwise, I support the idea that the curfew is extended to at least midnight. Thank you.
Honorable Centenary. Centenary, Lop, Oranya, Nambeshe, Ogon, Atat, then I get to Mr.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Prime Minister, I'd like to inform you that I come from the border district of Kasese, but to our detriment, the privileges accruing to the border districts have not reached Kasese. For instance, we were put under lockdown for an entire month during the campaign period, but we have not received even a single ambulance, even when we have been considered to be put under a red flag. What does that mean? A border rider in Kasese has to park his motorcycle by 6 p.m. and he has to pay the boss, the owner of that motorcycle. But across in Fort Portal and the neighboring districts, these borders are moving throughout the night. Why does government allow selective application of standard operating procedures on certain districts, and yet other districts are enjoying the full privileges of the lifting of the curfew? Another issue, Right Honorable Prime Minister, these buses which move, the public transport buses, they are moving and they dump people here in the cities at around 9, 10, 11. Now, just imagine somebody has traveled from Kasese and is coming to Kampala. He needs to go to Entebbe, and he has arrived at 9 p.m. or at past 9 p.m. How do you expect that person to commute from the bus station in town to Entebbe when they have put a curfew on the alternative transport that is supposed to now take that person from that bus station to their final destination? So I think your scientists need to study, because me as a lay person, I know we have a number of markets which even accommodate hundreds of people, and we have not seen a single case of a corona patient from those markets. It means that your scientists need to study further how this virus is now reoccurring and spreading. You may realize that there are people you are punishing innocently, and you are affecting their livelihoods, and you're not even giving them other sources of livelihood. For instance, bar owners are suffering. The landlords who own those premises where the bars are being operated, URA is requesting them to give rental income tax. The people who are operating in those buildings are not allowed to operate. If they are operating, they're operating illegally. The police patrol is always around collecting money from them. I think it's a very big shame that government cannot systematically apply its guidelines. Therefore, I agree with my honorable colleagues that we need to lift, first of all, the curfew hours, but secondly, review the standard operating procedures so that some people are back into the fold of economic livelihood. Otherwise, people are going to collapse. They have borrowed loans, from banks. They have invested in their bars. Others have invested in their buildings, but they are not earning from it. And yet, they have to pay taxes, and they also have to look after their families. I beg to move.
Okay, Honorable Ogon. Now, right now, Prime Minister, last week I mentioned that the government had closed the airports for a long time. When the airports were reopened, There was no adjustment to the curfew. Yet the flights, KLM arrives after 11, Turkey arrives at 3 o'clock, Ethiopian arrives at midnight, Kenya Airways arrives at 5, you know. So all the passengers from Entebbe committing an offense by trying to get to Kampala in the night. What do you want them to do at the airport? To remain there?
Right Honorable Prime Minister, you just have to do away with the curfew. At least I know you are such a good man. Just go and tell the President, this is from us to you. Remove this curfew. We cannot as a House continue debating on the same matter. I think this is the 5th time, Madam Speaker. We are talking about curfew, spending the most prestigious and precious time of this Parliament speaking about one matter. For how long? Madam Speaker, no. At least I have seen that there is a problem. Now government is coming with the taxes which are not coordinated. Because you want to try to cover the gaps created by curfew. What kind of economics is this? At least a villager like me can also tell that it's time to remove the curfew. Why not remove it? Right Honorable Speaker, this curfew, I don't know what it is meant to do. Is it to arrest the coronavirus or to arrest the suspects in the night? Because, Right Honorable Speaker, I don't know what is happening. In the night, people are moving. I think the curfew is targeting social distance. What is the difference between social distance at day and social distance at night? Is there a difference? I think the Prime Minister should answer that one. Is there a difference? Social distance at day and then social distance at night. Medical, is it existing? Number 2, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to ask, Right Honorable Prime Minister, do you pay the police who are managing the curfew some money? Are you giving them any basic allowance? Because it's like it is the public now which is what? Becoming the ones to pay. They are the cashiers now. That's where the problem is. And most of the restaurants, you are giving out a mioga. Now this mioga money, how are these people going to benefit from it? These are people who are operating in the saloons, they are operating in the bars, they are operating in barber shops, they are in all these kiosks. How are you going to benefit from a mioga? So when we speak here, it might sound like we just want to make noise. No, we are part of government. Government is about you, the legislature, you, the executive, and the judiciary listening to one another. We have spoken as Parliament, we have definitely refused to speak, and we have kept quiet. So what are we going to do? We are not about to riot. So, Right Speaker, we are bending a law. Maybe when we speak with a low tone, the Prime Minister will listen. May I kindly beg you, remove the curfew. Maybe that's the tone, because maybe we have been so loud that you have failed to listen to us. Please remove the curfew. I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Leader of Opposition. Olanya Nambeshe, Ogwal, then I get Achon Macho. Okay.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Prime Minister, these scientists, are they really helping you if the information is from the scientists? Do we still have district meetings taking place? When we put in place curfew, because those district meetings should inform you, and you will know that curfew is right now theory. It is there to extort resources from people. It is there as a mechanism for those people, those soldiers, to get their pay from the population. If you are very unlucky, then you are tortured by these people. Why can't we just, remove? How can you move from 9 to 10? What impact will it bring? Right Honorable Prime Minister, you remember when curfew was put in place, it was also as a response to total lockdown. Total lockdown. This total lockdown was done away with. Why should we leave curfew to continue to be on board? Right Honorable Prime Minister, even the national meeting, I don't know if you still have the National Task Force meeting taking place, because we don't hear about them. That is why the police then gives another what? Another statement, and you come with your other statement. It is not only about the Muslim. Right now, priority is the Muslim. But it is also about the population of Uganda. We need people to be a little free. And if we have to give them their freedom, people should not just be, getting them, catching them. The borders suffer most. Because sometimes buses also travel in the night. And then they take people, leave alone this airport being open. Right Honorable Prime Minister, at least we request you to go and revisit the communication you have given to us. I do not know what the President is going to tell the nation, since he's coming to address us within a few days. It's better you do your research well. Help the people of Uganda. Otherwise, you are putting section of people of Uganda into a very big problems. Because every time you move, then there are people there who want money from you. And they get money from you. This is wrong. Those scientists must also be investigated. If they are real scientists, I think we begin to doubt them. They are politicians, they are not scientists. They should do their research well. Right, Honorable Prime Minister, we are all saying this in good faith to help the people of Uganda. Because this curfew is meaningless. The only meaning of this curfew is for those soldiers to continuously extort money from the people. It is not to even protect the population anymore or to protect property of people anymore, but it is for extortion of money. So please do us that favor and open it up. From 9 to 10 is meaningless. At least if you would talk about from 9 to midnight, but we want a total removal of this curfew. This is the proposal that we are giving to you. Take it in good faith. Right Honorable Prime Minister. Right Honorable Speaker, I would like to thank you for the opportunity. Thank you very much.
Honorable Gilbert Olanya Nambeshe, Ogwazi Nageta Chon Macho, and Tumzigu, and Minister of Health.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Prime Minister, you need to give us the scientific proof that COVID-19 spread the more after 9 p.m. Because it's quite risky to talk when we do not know exactly what happened. And you need to understand exactly what happened after 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. Right Honorable Speaker, aware that currently churches are open, marketplaces are open. Up country, we have what we call auctions. And during auction day, you will find more than 2,000 people in a market. In the burial places, more than 3,000 people gathered together. And really, what scientific proof do you have, Honorable Prime Minister, that after 9 p.m., the spread of COVID-19 is high? Right Honorable Speaker, I know the statement presented by Right Honorable Prime Minister was drafted in a hurry. I am very sure the people who work in your office discovered that you are in the order paper and they hurried to draft the statement. And the statement that you presented, Right Honorable Prime Minister, I don't think if you read it before. Because if you were to read it before, I think you wouldn't have presented before Parliament. Right Honorable Prime Minister, the implementation of this curfew is all political. Just political. Not that we are fighting the spread of COVID-19. It's not at all. but it's political for the reasons well known to you, being the Prime Minister of the Republic of Uganda. The request of our people is, there are times we presented, right now border are being looted by these police officers who are implementing curfew times. The newly recruited police officers, the police constables, that is now their major work. You find at 7, they dress very fast from their home, they run to the roadside. They go strictly looking for money from the border people. Right, our Prime Minister, some of us, members of parliament, ministers, including you are not being asked. After a police officer realizing that you're a member of parliament or someone big in parliament, they will come down and let you go. But people who are not in any higher positions, they are crying right over Prime Minister. They are being looted. They are being stolen day and night. But for us here, you are saying reluctantly that the issue of the curfew shall be looked on by the President. I think, finally, right, Honourable Speaker, the problem we have in Uganda also is that we over-depend on only the President of the Republic of Uganda. And if you look at it critically, all these ministries, no minister will ever come up with his personal statement for the betterment of the country. Anything, you have to wait from only one man. And the day that one man will not be there, I think the country will go into a total mess. Even very small thing, extending the curfew hours, saying let us extend the curfew hours. The Prime Minister, the Minister of Internal Affairs, all those, you have to sit and wait from only the President of Uganda. I think this is very risky for our country. This is very risky for our country. Let us be serious. Let us remove the curfew. Let people go on looking for money to send their children to schools. As I go and sit, right, Honourable Speaker, let me give you one scenario that happened seriously last week. A bus moving from Gulu, when it reaches Luero, the bus was stopped after 9. The bus was directed to go to the police. And from the police, those people were asked to contribute some little money. They refused to pay money, and they detained the bus from 9 until 6 in the morning. Then they were allowed to go back home. People just slept outside. And there are other buses who are collecting money, paying money, they are being allowed to move, even at 11, at midnight. The moment you give money, you are free to move. If you don't give money, you are tortured, you are humiliated, as if you are not a Uganda. Our Prime Minister, I think, let us be very serious for the betterment of our country. I beg to move.
Thank you, Honourable Nambeshe. Nogwal, then Achon.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Madam Speaker, if curfew was to curb the spread of COVID-19, then it was working only at the time when we were in a total lockdown. And actually, our neighbors like Kenya have had to revise. They have had to lock down, particularly those urban areas where the spike is skyrocketing. For instance, recently the announcement was that Nairobi, Nakuru, Kajiado, Kiambu, Machakos, about 6 urban centers were again put back into a total lockdown. And that is where curfew works. Equally here, it was working. But right now, Right Honourable Prime Minister, I want to tell you that there are even new, because of curfew, there are even new character traits, negative character traits from the police. It will shock you that where I held a meeting of my coordinators until it came to around 9, we were surrounded by police, and they were not only dispersed, but some were arrested until they were released after they had extorted money from them. Now the bars have become even more indisciplined than before. They operate throughout the night. They have spies, and the spies they use are the police to protect them. These are informers. They close doors. Now, recently, in where I stay, when they realize that they have known that trick, now they have turned into singing songs and singing Hallelujah, Hosanna, whenever they get tips that the police is coming. So they sing for a long time until the police goes, they think, and those closed to hoodwink the police that this is a place of worship. People are worshiping. Inside, these bars are packed to capacity. And what would you expect there for the level of infection of COVID-19? It is therefore, curfew is doing more harm than good. I'll give you information. But Madam Speaker, I'll give you. Madam Speaker, curfew, in my view, has been weaponized in another form of POMA, Public Order Management Act, after it was quashed by the courts of judicature. Because it's more political. I would like to raise a very humble question to the Right Honorable Prime Minister. Whether permission was sought and eventually granted by the line ministry, that is the Ministry of Health. The Ministry of Health, incidentally, is here. For Changwazi to carry on with that illegal gathering, when other parties like NUP cannot hold any meetings anymore. Now it has, because of curfew, it has become the preserve of one party to be at liberty to hold meetings even under the umbrella of darkness, when others are actually held in limbo. Madam Speaker, the cost of doing business now in Uganda is very high. The informal sector economy is suffering most. Actually, it is on intravenous fluid, because most of these people in the informal sector do their business at night. Now, you can also imagine how skyrocketing the charges, even border borders, merely to get a border border at that time to take you anywhere, or special hire. It is very expensive. And it has not put, this curfew has not put into consideration the nightmare of traffic jam in the city here. You take 2 hours, yes please. You take 2 hours in the traffic jam, and after that, you are arrested by the police, and you have to have more than 50 on you to be set free.
Thank you, Honorable colleague, for giving way. Honorable Speaker, I just want to Right Honorable Prime Minister, just to justify, we have SOPs. To what percentage has curfew contributed to the reduction of COVID in the country? I thank you.
Yeah, as I conclude, Madam Speaker, mine is to humbly request the Prime Minister to harmonize your position with the IGP, who has prudently come out to realize that at a time like this, we should relax those stringent guidelines pertaining to curfew. Thank you very much.
Honorable Ogwal, but let's just have 3 minutes, please. Ogwal, Achon, Macho, Pachuto, Kivalia, then Chumuzigu, and Minister of Health.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, first of all, I want to appreciate the statement made by the Minister of Internal Affairs, Honorable General J.J. Odong, concerning decentralization of passport processing. I think this is positive because he has responded positively to the request we made last week concerning congestion of people and particularly women sleeping around the immigration offices. I think this is a positive step, and I would like the Prime Minister to understand that when we come here and talk with a lot of bitterness, we are not bitter against you or anybody. We are representing the feelings of the people. Right now, the concept of curfew itself is actually damaging the image of the government. Because you and me find it so difficult to go back to our constituencies and tell our people not to crowd at funerals when they are seeing people dancing in Chankwanzi, when they are seeing the crowding in Chankwanzi. So they are asking, are politicians immune to COVID? Why is it that in the villages we are telling them not to crowd, and yet in Chankwanzi they are crowding? So we are contradicting each other. I think it's your responsibility, it's my responsibility to advise the president. It's sometimes wrong for us to say we cannot do this because it can only be the president. You are now trying to put an impression that the president is a total dictator. But you are the one to advise him. He's not a scientist himself. So I think it's important that we should give the president the right information to lead him to make the right decision. Right, Honorable Speaker, finally, I want to say that the curfew has become a money-generating period. If you don't make money this time, you'll never make money. I know government officials have made money in the name of curfew, in the name of COVID. Money has been collected fraudulently from people. People have been robbed in the name of COVID, in the name of curfew. So can we stop it, please? And Right Honorable Prime Minister, you are our only hope. You are the only person who come here and we tell you what the people are feeling. So we pray that when you go back and meet the president, tell him what the people of Uganda are feeling about exploitative habit which has now been generated out of COVID and our concern about curfew. I thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Achon. Achon Macho, Pachuto, Kibaria, Tumuzibu, Minister of Health.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, and I would like to thank Right Honorable Prime Minister for the wonderful statement. Madam Speaker, the curfew has brought a lot of damage in this country. Curfew would allow the thieves would pass through peacefully. Then other people will not pass through in a peaceful manner. You must pay the money. Right Honorable Prime Minister, the voice that we are speaking here today is the voice of our Uganda citizens, our voters. It would be very wise if you give this voice straight to the president, really to reveal what all this curfew meaning to our nation. When Uganda was in a lockdown last year, things went smooth, but when it gotten easy, that's when part of the security began making money. This is real money. One time I was tried, because I'm just a very normal person. When you meet me, you would know even if I'm a member of parliament. When they realized, one of the security asked if I would give them some drinking water. I had water in a bottle because I didn't know what they wanted, but they wanted money. So I gave them a bottle of water. So, Madam Speaker, this country, really, if we don't review, it's going to put us down. Thank you very much.
Okay, Honorable Macho.
Madam Speaker, I want to thank the Prime Minister for his statement. When the Prime Minister speaks, the government has spoken. Madam Speaker, we have come to be a laughing stock in the East African region. I come from Busia border, and we are very blessed that in this regime, they built for us a one-stop border point, whereby business goes on 24 hours, 7 days. But as I talk now, why have I said we are laughing stock? Whereas business goes on 24 hours in Kenya, business goes on 12 hours in Uganda. So Kenyans are asking, what is wrong with our neighbors? Mr. Prime Minister, what is wrong with us in the region? That whereas Kenyan vehicles travel from far, carrying goods to export here, hours park on the border to wait for other 12 hours. So the question is, what is wrong with the Ugandans? Truly, Madam Speaker, I want to agree with my colleagues. Policemen who have not enjoyed this season, God will condemn them. Because curfew in Uganda is an income-generating activity. We who live in Mukono and we drive for hours, we are spared, some of us, because of our faces, but Ugandans are really suffering. One voter asked me, is that what we call the state progress? And I said, I'll ask the Prime Minister. Mr. Prime Minister, is that what we call the state progress? Whereby somebody drives in the curfew and as soon as he reaches Mukono, he's arrested due to curfew. But I don't know. I request my brothers who are Muslims to pray. Because if Honorable Prime Minister, we don't help our brothers, the Muslims, prisons and cells are going to be full. But what wrong have the Muslims done to us for us to pay them in this kind? I don't know which answer will Honorable J. Jodong tell to the Mufti or the district card where he comes from. Right, Honorable Prime Minister, as we request the government to help us open up the curfew, we also request the government to help us, give us COVID-19 funds accountability that was given by Ugandans who are being tortured by curfew. Because we have some people like Balam, who is my colleague in NRM, a support of NRM. They donated a lot of money. Madam Speaker, for just a minute. They donated a lot of money to our party, and we did very well through their donation. During the time of COVID-19, all their bars are closed. They're asking, where is the accountability of the COVID-19 funds? The vehicles that were given to the districts, they went without the cards. Mr. Prime Minister, I request you, you're a parent, that wherever we, the senior officers, take beer in our houses, the local people who are going in the bars, supporting the owners of bars who are doing business through the broad money, are crying in their houses. Kindly, I propose and second that let us remove the curfew. Let Uganda be like Kenya. Let Uganda be like Tanzania, which has gone to middle income without curfew. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Pachito. Pachito Kibalia, Tumzigo, Minister of Health.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. And I want to thank the Right Honorable Prime Minister for the update on the SOPs. Right Honorable Speaker, I do think that it was not wrong for government to put curfew in place, and it's still not wrong for government to have curfew in place. But I do agree with members too and share their feelings that it is not proper for the police, however, to take this as an exploitative venture to reap Ugandans of their resources. Right Honorable Speaker and members, I think as Ugandans and as leaders, we need to instill a bit of discipline in ourselves and work smart. If by far government has not uplifted curfew or reviewed the time, why wouldn't a serious Uganda plan herself or himself properly? Which order now? Right Honorable Speaker, for me, I would rather advance a case of government uplifting on public transport. Not yet, not granted. Allow me to go.
Point of order, point of order.
Right, Honourable Speaker, the Honourable colleague knows very well that we are governed under our specific rules of procedure. When there is an atmosphere which is charged, and you know it is positive, I don't know whether it's okay for you to go negative. Even when you know that it is not right for you to say what you have just said, you go ahead to say what is wrong. Right, Honourable Speaker, is it in order for the member to behave the way she has behaved via her submission? Is she in order?
Now, honour members, when you are speaking in House, you're not speaking about the leaders. You are speaking about the ordinary Ugandans. How do you expect a Ugandan who has entered the bus at 4, going to Jinja, and arrives in Jinja at midnight, is in the gridlock for 5 hours? Please, think about the people. Don't just talk anyhow.
Okay, Right Honourable Speaker, I accept the order, but allow me to make this contribution, Right Honourable Speaker, about public transport. Right Honourable Speaker, are paying very heavily. For somebody to come right now from West Nile, to and fro, you need close to 200,000. I would rather implore the government through the Prime Minister that we uplift the half board on public transport. Even right in Kampala here, Madam Right Honourable Speaker, on a rainy day like this, I don't know how much the ordinary Ugandan is paying to and fro wherever they are coming from. It is not less than 20,000. It is time for the government to adjust, to review a number of these SOPs, not just curfew time. I thank you.
Okay. Honourable Kibaria.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I believe on the dove swearing, the President held the same constitution that I also held that day. And I'm very sure Ndugu Prime Minister also held the same constitution. Right Honourable Speaker, Article 8A in that constitution is very clear that the laws that we make must be in the interest of Ugandans. Right Honourable Speaker, the voices that we hear here are voices from the Ugandans outside there. And it's very clear that the voices of the people should be the ruling force of government. Right Honourable Prime Minister, Ugandans outside there are crying. We appreciate, everybody appreciates the role that the President did during the time of COVID. We appreciate absolutely. We appreciate the role of government. But the time has come that Ugandans now are suffering. Right Honourable Prime Minister, everybody who moves on the streets of Uganda and Kampala know that jam ends at around midnight, around 11. But we still have the regulation of curfew at 9. We wonder whether we are setting this law in the interest of providing, as other colleagues have said, for the security forces to have reasons. The other day, Right Honourable Prime Minister, through you, Right Honourable Speaker, we had in my area, the Bakos came for Kwanjula. They came to Kamuli Bugabula South for Kwanjula from this side of Nansana. In our area, Kwanjula normally ends at around 7, 8 there. Hardly 2 hours, I received a call that the Bako had been arrested. Look at that situation, Right Honourable Prime Minister. If these Bakos were from your home and they call you that they have been arrested because of curfew, we must make laws that are in the interest of this country.
Thank you, Brother Chibalia, for giving way. Right Honourable Speaker, the information I want to give my brother Chibalia is that yesterday we had the State Council, the Education Department in our Committee of Education. And I asked the Director of Education to give us a status report of children of Kampala ever since they resumed school where children have been affected by COVID. And out of all the schools they have had, there was nothing. And Madam Speaker, when they brought, as I give information to the honorable member, is that when they brought the lockdown, we were in stage 1. And Dr. Ndugu Lakana Lugunda, you know this as a doctor. Because of stage 1, we were looking for contacts and we could tell them. We left stage 1, went to stage 2. The moment we went to stage 4, the curfew and anything is unnecessary because you cannot get the contacts. It's like you telling us that people are going to spread AIDS, saying we are no longer going to sleep with your wife in the house. You must sleep this side to stop the spread of AIDS. It can no longer take place. So that's the information I want to give. That as long as we are in stage 4, there is no need of curfew because you can no longer trace the contacts. Thank you. That's the information I want to give you.
Thank you, colleague, for that information. So, Right Honourable Prime Minister, Right Honourable Speaker Miaino Ndugu Lugunda is a patron of an association of the old boys of Mwiri, where many with inspiration realize infinity. I know very well Right Honourable Prime Minister is taking note, and tomorrow he may come back here and say curfew has been lifted to midnight, because we are not saying, we are not defying anything, but we want to be considerate to Ugandans that 9 is not applicable. 9 is not possible. Even in the time when we close the house here, 9 is absolutely not possible. Can the government look into this? Can the government listen to the voices of Ugandans? Listen to the cries of Ugandans so that we make life easy for all the Ugandans outside there that we are governing. Thank you.
Now, Tim Sigu, and then the Minister of Health.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I take this chance to thank the 3 arms of government for the job well done in trying to fight COVID. However, Madam Speaker, I would like to support what my colleagues have been really yearning to listen for from the Prime Minister of doing away with the curfew. Madam Speaker, everyone knows that curfew is no longer a government business. It is a business for the policemen who extort money. Madam Speaker, would like to know from the Prime Minister the ranking of the strategies of fighting COVID such that we know that curfew is the most effective. Because, Madam Speaker, in the villages there, people no longer put on masks and the policemen do not mind. At the same time, the very police personnel do not put on their masks. We have discovered that at the moment, when you go to a police station, there is no water and soap, so they don't wash their hands. So almost all SOPs have been relaxed or abandoned. Why maintain a curfew? Is it the most effective measure of fighting COVID? So we want to know from you, Right Honourable Minister, Prime Minister, whether today or tomorrow. Lastly, Madam Speaker, when this continues like this, as we are seeing the policemen extorting money, people will come to believe that all the measures which are remaining are political. And remember, we are representing the political clients, the clients of the government business. Right Honourable Prime Minister, your clients, as the lead of government business, are the ones who represent. And when we represent them, we make your job easy. So whatever we are saying here is for the benefit of the government. Therefore, we expect you to advise the President working with the scientists, such that we can lift the curfew if you cannot rank it as number one among the strategies of fighting COVID-19. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Now, Minister of Health.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to thank the Right Honourable Prime Minister for the statement he has made. Madam Speaker, for the last 3 months, the country has experienced significant reduction in the infection rate of COVID-19. The new cases has significantly reduced, and for that matter, allow me to congratulate you, colleagues, and the people of Uganda. Right Honourable Speaker, there have been many theories why the infection rate had reduced in this country within this month. One of the causes, and the studies revealed by scientists, is that previous studies in influenza in this country has shown that the rate at which the infection comes is especially at the peak of the rain season, when the rain comes and when it is at the peak. And that has been proven to be similarly to this infection, given it is COVID-19. Having said that, under normal circumstances, Madam Speaker, everybody will say, given the experience we've had for the last 3 months, we should put curfew off because infection rate has been significantly reduced. But Madam Speaker, this discussion is coming at the point when the country is just the last week beginning to get the second wave of COVID-19. We're already starting to get serious infection rate going up every day. Number two, Madam Speaker, given the fact that as a country we have discovered a new variant that is from United Kingdom and South Africa, that is a big concern to everybody, especially we, the policymakers. Number three, Madam Speaker, as we discuss this issue of curfew, there is a phenomenon that is called herd immunity. And given the fact that we've started the process of vaccination, herd immunity is when the population is indirectly protected. They are protected from the COVID infection when a good percentage of others have been vaccinated. 60 to 70% of the population has been vaccinated. This has come at a time when we are having this very important discussion, and this has come at a time when the vaccination on COVID has just started getting rolled out. Number four, there has been lack of adherence to the SOPs, which is glaring and very significant. Madam Speaker, having given these 4 important points, with your permission, today in the new vision, we've seen countries like India and other countries has put in place measures to actually lock down and put curfew because of the second, third waves, which is coming back again into the country. Having said that, Madam Speaker, research has shown that nighttime curfew helps to reduce the spread of infection. This is very clear globally. And Madam Speaker, with all these reasons, especially the second wave that is glaring into the country, we are really requesting this flow that is chaired by you, that we really need to move slow. We need to monitor the way things are unfolding, because there is a very high possibility, as studied by the scientists, that by the next couple of months, the country is likely to get another high infection rate because of the second wave. And finally, Madam Speaker, and lastly, Madam Speaker, allow me emphasize the point of herd immunity. That is going to give us a leverage. Once we attain 60 to 70% of population that is already vaccinated against COVID-19 vaccine, meaning that a huge percentage of our population is indirectly protected, then that is the time when we can have most of these restrictions. Really, it will give us a leverage and a way forward to open up most of these restrictions so that we can live happily and enjoy whatever activities we are doing. But for now, as I sit down, Madam Speaker, as scientist, as the Minister from Health, we request that let's monitor the way the events are unfolding and we move slow, give it time to study, and we get back and we review the process from time to time. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. Just before I invite the Prime Minister, I still want to be convinced that the infection of COVID is between 9 p.m. and morning. I want someone to convince me that that's the time when people get infected. That's why there's a curfew. Secondly, we had campaigns in this country. 3 months of campaign. Did that bring a spike in infections in this country? Did it? All of you are products of that campaign, those who go for elections. Secondly, the markets are busy and they're open. The churches are there. The mosques are there. You know, sometimes when you give us reasons that really are difficult to justify, the barriers are there. What is special about 9 p.m. to 6 a.m.? No. Right on the Prime Minister, I think you better get better reasons for this stopping us from living our lives. Because of the SOPs, the infection has come down. We are aware that has come down. We are aware that it has come down. So what you are saying? Internal Affairs want to say something?
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I would like to respond to 3 specific concerns that colleagues have raised in the course of responding to the statement by the Right Honourable Prime Minister. The first concern which I would like to respond to is, I think, a matter that was raised by Honourable Basali Irua, to the effect that the curfew is preventing Muslims now in the month of Ramadan from performing a specific act of a prayer called Taraweeh, which takes place immediately after the evening Muslim prayer and tends to last up to about 10 p.m. and therefore, if Muslims performed it, they would fall victim of the curfew. I just wanted to share with you factual information. Taraweeh is a Muslim practice of performing certain rites during the month of Ramadan. It involves reading 2 or 3 chapters of the Quran and performing 12 or so rakahs, or what you call supplications. Now, that practice is not compulsorily supposed to be performed in the mosque. Indeed, Prophet Muhammad, peace be with him, did indicate when he was asked why he did not perform Taraweeh in the mosque, he said, if I perform Taraweeh in the mosque, it will be construed as if it is compulsory. And therefore, I'm not.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Madam Speaker, Honorable J. Odong knows that I'm his parliamentary imam. And issues to do with religious matters, definitely I'm a consultant. Madam Speaker, is Honorable J. Odong in order to try to mislead us that indeed Taraweeh prayers are optional and indeed they are supposed to be performed at home. Yet he knows the importance of these prayers and the importance of the whole month of Ramadan. Madam Speaker, is he in order to try to encroach in the field he is not so much familiar with? Is he in order to interfere with matters that are very religious? Is he in order, Madam Speaker?
Honourable members, unfortunately, I'm not very familiar with that situation. I don't know the Quran, I don't know the practices, so it's difficult for me to rule on his capacity or the capacity of the Imam. But, Honourable Minister, I think you should focus on the curfew. Don't take us into what you do in the religion, because now the Catholics will bring their thing, the others will bring, please. Just deal with the curfew. Don't confuse us with your religious practice.
Not at all, Madam Speaker. I am not confusing you. I am simply trying to educate us to understand that Taraweeh is not obligatory to be performed in the mosque. You can perform it at home. That is the sunnah of the Islam performance.
Minister, please.
Secondly,
don't take us into that.
Secondly, and if Honorable Sebagala wants, we can talk about it out of here. We will argue, and I will give you evidence. Secondly, the second point I would like to explain is the matter of a message sent by your CHOM, Director of Operations of Police, to extend curfew beyond 10 p.m. I want to let you know that that message was sent in error. It has already been withdrawn because he is not authorized, first of all, to make such pronouncements. So it was made in error and it has been withdrawn. 3, the matter of police taking money at roadblocks. I would like to inform colleagues, through you, Right Honourable Speaker, that we have taken note of this abhorrible act. On Thursday this week, I will be chairing the police authority and we will be taking action on officers we have already identified as culpable in this matter. I thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Does Prime Minister wish to have some concluding remarks?
Thank you very much. Right Honourable Speaker, Ndugu Kibaria said we are listening. Yes, we are listening, but not necessarily agreeing on this very important subject matter. Right Honourable Speaker, I'll just make a few comments on issues raised. One is that this matter I'm communicating today was arrived at by Cabinet after thorough discussion with scientists, and there were several scientists who advised the Cabinet, and the Cabinet was convinced that this line of action, and as will be more extensively communicated, given the circumstances, the gravity of the pandemic, the possible wave that may be coming up, the fact that variants that are more severe, that are more lethal, are more deadly, are coming up, and that younger people are increasingly being affected, as has been very well demonstrated in Brazil and some other countries. So this position is heavily backed by our scientific colleagues. Number two, Ndugumacho raised a few issues about border points, and that Uganda is not like Kenya or like Tanzania. For diplomatic reasons, I'll not make comments on it, but I would like you to do a little more study of that subject matter because there has been reasonable performance in the fight against COVID in our country. The next point has been raised by a number of people, including you, Right Honourable Speaker, about the effectiveness of curfew in the fight against COVID. The fight against COVID has many aspects in the SOPs, and it's a combination of these factors, curfew included. The SOPs we talk about, which are very known to all of us, it's a combination, and we would like to see that combination reinforced instead of weakened. I want to salute the Honourable. I accept clarification from my brother.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister Ndugu, for accepting my clarification. Right Honourable Speaker, the clarification I'm seeking from Ndugu Lakana Rugunda is that if the disease and the pandemic is growing, does government reduce on its measures or it continues sustaining them? Why? Nambola is not active now, yet it was a collecting center. When you go in the hospitals, nothing is taking place. The funds used to provide are not there. So are you controlling, or you are using only one method, curfew alone, to control? Secondly, but no Speaker, are there measures at the airport that are stopping this variant that is coming through from Brazil and other countries attacking this country? No Prime Minister. Thank you.
Okay. Right Honourable Speaker, government continues to take appropriate measures, many measures. We are not reducing them. And we will continue to expand them. Number two, we are constantly reviewing this situation. It doesn't mean that the steps you had taken last month are necessarily the steps you must continue to take now. And that's why, therefore, issues of Nambole were changed, and that's why, for example, the homes have become centers of care, and at the moment, as I speak, about 10% of our ICU-ish cases are occupied by the sick patient, but also means that there is significant improvement in the care that the country is giving. Let me also add one issue. These variants have been identified in a number of tests in Uganda. As I have told you, we have seen some of them causing more morbidity and more mortality. We do not have too many weapons against COVID. Prevention is perhaps the most powerful weapon we have against COVID. Hence, strengthening the measures that we are using, and that's why curfew is still one of the weapons. As I said, this is a matter continuously reviews, and I can't say because it is working today, tomorrow it will work, but let's continue reviewing and let's take measures as advised by our scientists. Something may be attractive on face value, but when scientists examine it, you may find that after all, it is not helpful. So, Right Honourable Speaker, I want to thank the honourable members of Parliament for making their suggestions, some of them not quite agreeable to us, but some very useful. Government will consider them and will take the necessary measures. And His Excellency the President, as I have already